And welcome back to Coffee with a Kick. I'm still Xander. That's still Keegan. And it is still the 2023-2024 season, if you can believe it. We had some stellar action here in the midweek to talk about with our Champions League matches, our foursome of Champions League matches. And then we will also dip into our previews for this weekend, and then our recap of the trivia that we asked earlier, which I believe, oh boy, it was something about goal scoring. I've obviously thought about it a lot. What was it?
It was which player has won the most Premier League golden boots.
Okay, it was about goal scoring. Most golden boots as a player. And it was, I remember the hint was that it was somebody from the early 90s and 2000s. Is that right?
Early 2000s,
early
more
2000s,
so. But yeah.
For the actual time period. Like you may have been playing previously, but
yeah.
But the golden boots were in the early 2000s. All right. That is for later in the episode, obviously. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get to the meat of the issue, which is our 4 quarterfinals for the Champions League. Just as a note here, you did go 0 for 4. You went 0 for Gopher on your picks for this week. 0 for Gopher. I got 2-2. Perfectly normal for Champions League. Me going 2-2. That's just how I roll, apparently. With one perfect pick. The first one that we'll get to here. Arsenal and Bayern Munich on Tuesday played. They drew 2-2. And Real Madrid and Man City drew as well 3-3. Both of these fantastic matches to watch. How do you feel about City only coming away with one? Well, with the draw here.
You know, given the fact that we were up 3-2 and it took a incredible volley
real nice
there in this 70-ish minutes. I mean, that was pretty wild. I mean, just before that, Vardiol had an amazing strike too. So I felt like both teams were evenly matched.
Mm-hmm.
And at the Bernabeu, I don't mind a draw. I was hoping we'd get the win, but what was it, the 12th and the 14th minute, they just got 2 really quick goals. And it took us a little bit to get back into it, but I'll take a draw. I think Arsenal is going to be the team that is not as happy because they drew at home. So I feel pretty confident with City going to the Etihad. But Bayern, they played pretty well. This was probably the best game they played all season, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, they it ended exactly how I thought it would. But Bayern played better than I thought they would. Both of these sides, I think Arsenal and Bayern feel like they probably could have gotten away with it and won this one because it was back and forth. I mean, it was end-to-end action for the Arsenal-Bayern match. Really for the City match, too. But both of them were very, very exciting. The goals across both of these matches were rather stellar. I mean, City had, had 3 really stellar goals. And then
Diaz, his way, he scored too.
Yeah, he also scored. But like Valverde's 79th minute scissor volley was, truly
wild.
Out of nowhere. It just fell right to him. Well, it didn't even fall to him. He just struck it in midair in flight. It was really good. Yeah. Foden's great curler to the back post coming across the top from right to left there on the top of the box. They didn't step. He saw the opportunity, took a shot, went in. Vardiol rocket missile. Even Bernardo Silva's second minute one, I mean, he caught the keeper off guard, but he still hit it strong enough to beat him near post.
Yeah.
Even that one was pretty good. So it was a great match for both of the Tuesday matches. And I'm excited to see the other half. This upcoming midweek, we'll get this all over again. Just change of venue. I don't think that the Arsenal Bayern match will live up to it. I think Bayern will come back down to earth a little bit, and Arsenal will. Arsenal will be hard to tell because there's both cities kind of used to being wrapped up in both at the same time. They're kind of used to being title race and Champions League quarterfinals at the same time. Arsenal not so much. They are having to split focus between two very imposing tasks. And it'll be interesting on next Wednesday to see if they can pull through when they're in a very hostile environment there in Munich. So that'll be interesting to see. But then
City. My last note is City drew Real Madrid at the Bernabeu with no Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne was sick. He was on the bench.
Someone poisoned him. Yeah, that's what I heard.
He ate the pizza and he didn't want to do the Jordan flu game.
Yes, the classic Spanish pizza. So good.
Thankfully, ISIS also did not bomb either of these games as the threats came out that morning.
So what I was planning on.
ISIS threatened to bomb and nothing happened, so we're good. But overall, City doing that without De Bruyne, I feel pretty good if he's healthy. He may rest this weekend just to make sure we get him. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. But
especially with who City's playing this weekend. I could definitely see them resting some guys for next midweek. Okay, and then we'll move to Wednesday. Another set of matches. One of them just as good. One of them not as good. You could probably guess which one. PSG Barcelona, a 5-goal thriller. With Barcelona coming through here. This game did not play out how we thought it would. And then Atletico Madrid and Dortmund. Atletico did take it 2-1. And this one kind of played out how I thought it would. But Dortmund really, in the first half, Dortmund looked terrible. I mean, to be frank, they were terrible in the first half. The 2 goals that Atletico Madrid got in the first, I think it was the first 20-ish minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. Let me double check my notes here. Come on. Load. Yeah, in the first half hour, both of those goals were, they felt like they were coming, but even still, they were defensive lapses and just not a good look for Dortmund. They pulled themselves together in the second half, looked more competent as a side, and got more into the swing of things. I thought Sancho tried to put a little bit too much on himself at times. Which was strange. And then they got their 81st. When they got their goal in the 81st minute, you felt like there was a chance that they might be able to sneak out a draw, but nothing terribly threatening came through in the end. Now, for the PSG Barcelona match, we thought that Barcelona's midfield was going to struggle with some of their absences, but it turns out such was not the case. PSG did not play those long balls over the top like we thought they would to the boy, what's his face? Mbappe. Yeah, and I felt like that's part of what they were missing from their game there. They tried to work it so methodically that I felt like they were missing opportunities that they would otherwise have. In the end, Barcelona came through as the better side with the 2 goals there. After going down against for the first, because PSG came out hot in the second half. I mean, scoring 2 goals in the first 6 minutes. Then they kind of petered back off, and Barcelona took back over the match at that point.
Yeah, PSG second half starts 48th and 50th minute. You're thinking that this is going to be a rout.
Yeah,
in the second half.
It felt like it too. Even the next 10 minutes, like PSG was still hammering Barcelona's back line.
Yeah, kudos to Barcelona for holding the line, because that 62nd minute Rafinha goal really gave them life. And I felt like after that, Barcelona took back the game. And even though possession-wise, after that, they didn't really have a ton, but they got the winning goal in the 77th minute. This one was exciting. Based on history, you knew it was going to be probably exciting just because PSG, beat Barcelona 4-0, and then Barcelona stormed back and win 6-1. Classic Champions League. Go back and watch the highlights if you haven't. Atletico Dortmund, definitely a coin flip. I thought Dortmund was going to play a little better, but you're right. It did seem like Sancho wanted to be the hero, the one-man show. He was kind of demanding the ball at times, even though he had 3 guys surrounding him. So it didn't. Second half, they definitely were playing more team ball, and it showed with an 81st minute goal. But they're going to have to figure something else out for the home stretch. But they're at home. They played pretty well at home. So I think they could reverse it.
Yeah, getting that goal in the 81st minute helps Dortmund a lot, because we talked about the question was, will they be close enough to be able to rely on their home field advantage? Because it is, I mean, they are a much different team at home in the Champions League this year, and this gave them a shot at it. You know, they only have to win by 1 to get extra time, and then, you know, anything could happen at that point. But yeah, Sancho, I think, does need to rein it in. There were some great goals in that PSG Barcelona match. The Rafinha's second goal, that little blooper over the top that he caught midair, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, the meme, nice. But that's the Champions League. Good stuff. We will see if they can keep it up on the reverse fixtures next week. But before we get there, we've got a little bit of Premier League action to cover. Got a full slate of 10, most of them being on Saturday. We'll just go ahead and just slide on in there. Newcastle and Spurs, 7:30 a.m. at St. James's Park in Newcastle. How do you think the Toonies take on Spurs here? How does it work out for them?
You know, I thought about it. Newcastle's been playing decent. I don't think they're playing decent enough to beat Tottenham. Mm-hmm. I think Tottenham will come out, they'll win 3-2, because Tottenham has a bit more to play for at this stage, because if they continue to win, there's a chance that they could secure that last Champions League spot. They're not going to catch anyone above that. Top 3 seems pretty set. But Tottenham could really take a stranglehold on that position if they continue to win these games. So I think they'll take it 3-2.
Yeah, I've got it as a 2-2, just because it is at Newcastle. They have been better recently, and Spurs, you know, neither Villa nor Spurs want to secure this position, the for sure Champions League spot. There's still a lot will depend on, a lot looks good for 5th going through to the Champions League. It's the league coefficients that they go through here at the end of the season, because it's probably either going to be the Germans extra team going through, because there's 2 German teams remaining in the Champions League, or it's going to be England, because Arsenal and Man City are in there. So I think that'll probably be those 2 for who goes through on 5th. But just like how Aston Villa earlier in the season didn't want to ever be 1st, it seems like they barely even want to be 4th at this point. And Spurs are trying to keep themselves organized to get there, but I think it ends up being 2-2 anyways. Just a nice 2-2 draw. I think that we could be happy with that as just, you know, unaffiliated soccer watchers. Anyways, the next match. This one, not looking forward to this one. It's very important. Doesn't mean I'm looking forward to it. Brentford hosts Sheffield United at G-Tech Community Stadium. I think the Bees come out here, and I think that they put their foot down. I think they say, listen, we ain't getting relegated. We Bees ain't dead yet. And they take it 2-1 over a Sheffield United team who has shown, you know, it could, you know, I'm going to change that actually. I'm going to go 4-1, because Sheffield United has shown that they will leak goals like a shotgun to sieve. So, you know, a sieve,
like a shotgun shiv.
That's
an American
shiv.
saying.
Boy, a shiv, a shotgun full of shivs. Is that what that is? I'm not sure. But anyways, I think that Brentford takes one of these. I'm going to upgrade it to a 4-1 victory for them.
I have a little bit more faith in Sheffield United. They have to get points. I think they take it with a draw, 2-2. That will be a win for them to be away from home, to get a draw. Brentford, they've been as volatile as any team this year. So I think Sheffield's got a real shot to get a point. I'm going to go 2-2.
You know, Sheffield will definitely take it and kind of replicate the magic from last weekend when they drew Chelsea 2-2. By that time they were at home. This one would be more impressive. It's like it kind of levels out a little bit, because like Brentford's definitely not as good as Chelsea, but you are at G-Tech. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the end. Then to another relegation team striving to get out of the zone, and Brighton, who, you know, I'm terrible at picking. So great, awesome. Fantastic. How do you think these Brighton boys go into Burnley? Do you think they get any? Do you think they get full points on this one? They're not playing for much, but do you think they get them anyways?
They're not playing for much, and it's at Burnley. Brighton, I think, will use this game to maybe do something tactically different because the past few weeks have been abysmal.
Yeah.
I think it ends 1-1 because I think it'll be Brighton more just figuring out what do we want to do for the final push, not necessarily let's go get 3 points. So I think 1-1. Burnley's been playing decent. They need points. I think they get one here.
Yeah. I think that Burnley will feel bad about last week. Losing to Everton is a huge blow to their chances of staying up because that both lost them all the points and it gave them to Everton, who was a side that they maybe could catch. I think that they're going to be caught pressing in this one. I think that they're going to be caught out, and Brighton gets it 3-1. Brighton will be more opportunistic in this than they may have been in the past. And I think Burnley will be trying too hard, sort of, is what it will be. Because they know they're coming down to crunch time, and there's not a lot of daylight left in their future in the Premier League, at least for this season, for next season. They will probably bounce right back up here in the next season or two. But even so, it's always nicer to stay up than it is to go down and come back. Then to a match that I don't think will be very. I think this will be a very straightforward 2-0 victory for Manchester City and Luton over Luton. They're at the Etihad. I think we get Oscar Bob out there. I think we get some of your other youngsters. What's the guy's name? I can't remember his name, but I think we get Oscar Bob. I think we get Cole Palmer. Wait, no, he's on Chelsea now. Who's the kid I'm thinking of?
Well, we have Rico Lewis. He's the right back.
That's it, Rico Lewis. No, I mean that's not how I'm confusing with Cole Palmer, but whatever. I think that we see a bunch of their young guys.
There's also James McAtee, but he's on loan. He's our other left-footed wizard of sorts. I have it 5-0. I think based on what Pep has done in the past, I think a lot of our starters will still play because he does like these games to be like warm up, get your legs going, play 60 minutes, do that kind of stuff. But I think De Bruyne takes it, starts the game. I think he gets a couple of assists. Haaland gets in a goal or two. I'm going to go 5-0. Yeah, Pep, even though Champions League is coming up, he uses these games as almost like a warm-up tactically. Yeah, obviously, we need to win. Mm-hmm. Typically, in the past, he might allow a draw to happen because he's like, we're just doing different things. But I think we're gonna wipe the floor with them 5-0. That's
a good point. That Pep does prioritize both. He wants to make sure he's winning as many trophies as possible every season. So I think that's a good point. You're still chasing the Premier League title. So he'll
1 point off.
Maybe only will give a half to some of the guys that he needs for this next midweek, but luckily it's Luton, So I feel like we've got some wiggle room here for this match. Then to one, I've got some hope for. I've got some hope here. Nottingham Forest hosts my Wolves at the City Ground. Do you think that my Wolves can get 3 points out of this one? I think we got Hwang back. I think that's right. Hold on, let me check. You go ahead. I think we got Hwang back, though.
I have it as a 2-2 draw. Come on. I think Nottingham is just, again, they're one of those teams that they're really hurting for points. Wolves doesn't need points. And I think that they've been a little out of sorts. Even if a couple of guys come back, I don't think they'll be ready, and really integrate into the team as far as chemistry again. So I think 2-2. I think Wolves are good enough to put 2 on Nottingham, but Nottingham's still trying to separate themselves there at the bottom.
Well, you know what? I think we take it 2-1 because we are getting Hwang back from his thigh injury, and it looks like Aitnoy should also be there. And he looked pretty good last week, even if things didn't go our way. I think that we take it 2-1 because our defense has been relatively unaffected through all of this. We've still had some good moves there. So I'm hopeful. This season's already going way better than I thought it would, considering I had them getting relegated in the preseason.
Boys.
I was hedging my bets a little bit too hard there. Okay, I was hedging a little too hard. Just pick like 15th next time, a safe 15th or something, not relegation. That's a little outrageous, obviously. Anyways, I think we take it. I think we keep that. Nottingham keeps the pressure on themselves. And this is one where they probably could use some points because they know Luton is probably not going to get any because they're playing Man City. And they could flip-flop over Everton if things go their way. But Chelsea, you never know about. We'll get to that in a minute. Then to the final match of Saturday, the 12:30 evening match for England. Bournemouth hosts Manchester United. Let's see. I don't have a good feeling for this one because I don't know which Manchester United team's going to show up. I don't know which Bournemouth team's going to show up. Is it the one that beat Crystal Palace? Is it the one that lost to Luton Town? Is it the Man U team who drew Brentford? Or is it the one that drew Liverpool? Both these teams are kind of all over it. I think I got to side with Man U just because they have better talent overall. And I think that they take it, 3-1 at Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth could sure use the points, but I think that they're safe at this point. I think that they're up in they've got 41. I think they're perfectly fine up there at this point. So they're playing for even less than Man U, really. But yeah, there we go. That's what I think.
Yeah, I had same score line, 3-1. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. Bournemouth, I think they got past that 40-point mark that kind of seems to be that if you get there, you're safe. So I think they're going to breathe a sigh of relief and may even start doing tactical decisions. Sometimes managers at this point will start playing other people to see, do I want to keep this guy for next year? Mm-hmm. So we could see a little bit of that, but I think that Man U takes it 3-1. It'd be different if Bournemouth was lower down in the table, but yeah, them being at 41, I think they'll be a bit flat-footed just because they're relaxed now.
Yeah, Bournemouth had that run in the past 5 matches of 4 straight wins that really helped boost them out of there, and basically now they can coast the rest of the season because none of those, neither Nottingham nor Luton are going to get up to 41, and that would be losing out for Bournemouth, and that's not going to happen. They'll get a draw in there somewhere. They probably play one of these teams. I haven't pulled up their schedule, but I'm just guessing with odds being what they are. What does that even mean? They'll probably play one of these remaining teams. Okay, we'll move to Sunday. Sunday, Liverpool hosts Crystal Palace at Anfield. How much of a bloodbath do you think this one's going to be? Or are you going to say like 1-1 draw?
You're right that I have Crystal Palace getting a goal. And it will be 1-1 if you subtracted 3 goals from Liverpool.
Okay.
No, I think Liverpool wins 4-1. I think this is straightforward. They'll win this one. It's at home.
That's right.
I don't think Crystal Palace doesn't have the stuff to beat them.
Trying to make up that 50 piece here in the last couple weeks of the season.
Hey, I'm making it up. I'm making it slowly.
Kind of start like, well, maybe I'll pick Liverpool to beat really bad teams now. I get it. Respect you playing the game. All right. Then we go to West. Oh wait, did I say? I also have it as 4-1 actually, because Liverpool's really good and Crystal Palace is. I think they're still missing some of their guys up top. Great, my screen here closed. Right. Who cares? I think they are right. Well, they got a pretty long list for this year. No, but it looks like they've got everybody back. So, maybe they could surprise us, but I doubt it. We'll then move to West Ham and Fulham. They're at London Stadium. Another London derby, right? Fulham's in London. Yeah, right?
Correct.
Right, yeah. So another London derby here. Oh, there's 2 London derbies on Sunday. No, they're not. Aston Villa's not in London. No, I'm crazy. No, they're not. They're in... Are they in Burnley? Where are they? Who cares for right now?
Who cares?
West Ham and Fulham. What do you got here? I think that this one is... I'm not very good at picking West Ham. West Ham's better than Fulham. There we go. 2-1. Boom. Got it. A lot of thought goes into that pick right there.
Yeah, not a ton of analysis. I think this goes 2-2. I think West Ham has played better away from home than they have at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they play better versus teams that are slightly above them. They're not playing better than a Liverpool or City, but they've stolen some points every now and then. I don't know. I think it'll be 2-2. I don't have a great read on the game. Two teams that don't have a lot to play for. What are you going to say?
I mean, it's at this point they are playing for a London derby. That's why.
Yeah.
That's all they've got going for that, because neither of these teams are doing much outside of that. Then to the important match from Sunday, Arsenal hosts Aston Villa at Emirates Stadium. Now I bet, and I'm going to guess that you're going to say that this one's a draw. Am I right?
No, I have one of the teams winning.
You have Aston Villa winning.
And I have Aston Villa winning 2-1.
Yep. Okay. That's what I thought you were going to say. 2-1.
I think Arsenal, after the draw at home versus Bayern, even earlier in the season, in September and October, they were talking about how it was a problem that during Champions League weeks, Arsenal would be like peeking over the fence, looking at the other game. And I think they're going to feel that pressure. And this could be the weekend that they let it slip. So I'm going 2-1.
I've got this one as 2-2. I think Villa gets a late one here to draw equal. And in my estimation, to keep pace with Tottenham, because I have Tottenham drawing Newcastle. So I think that's actually pretty key to this match is Tottenham playing before Aston Villa, because they know where they are on the table, and they'll know what they have to get in order to keep pace with Tottenham. The goal difference, what is the goal difference spread there between those two? I think it's pretty substantial. No, not really. It's only 3 goal difference between Tottenham and Aston Villa. So that could come into play here later on down the line. So I think that they keep it 2-2. I'd feel better about it if they were at home, Aston Villa, because they've played the big teams well at home. But I think they can go to Emirates, and like you're saying, that Arsenal is going to be looking forward to the midweek when they have to travel to Germany and try to win. That's going to be weighing heavily on them. And then to wrap up the weekend, Monday. Well, to wrap up the weekend, we go to Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Chelsea takes on Everton at Stamford Bridge in London. This one is. Chelsea, once again, what Chelsea team's going to show up? I say 3-0 Chelsea over Everton. That's what I say here. Yeah, why not? Everton's not very good. And Chelsea has been scoring quite a bit recently. They've scored at least 2 goals in their last 5. Let me see. While you're talking, I'll take a look and see. Oh, big thumb crack there. Go ahead with what you think.
Yeah, I think... because they've been scoring a lot, this will be the game they don't. I think it ends up being 1-1. It feels like, as we've talked about, Chelsea quite possibly has been the most volatile Premier League team ever, because they can go and lose 2-0 to a 15th place team and then go beat Man U 4-3 in a thriller. So I think it's 1-1. I think this is another game where it's like it's a Monday night. We're kind of feeling a little sluggish, haven't played in a while. I could see it being 1-1, especially since Everton, with news, just got another 2-point deduction.
Did they really?
So Everton is even further back on the table.
Boy, so that appeal did not work out for them, huh? It's like, you know what? An additional 2-point deduction.
So I think Everton will be even more motivated to really get it going, and I think they'll take a draw at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I think that they. What was the score on that draw? I was
1-1. Uno.
Uno. The only thing Everton's really got going for them is they do have a game in hand over the other bottom of the table teams. They're currently at 20. They're 2 points out of the zone with a game in hand over both Nottingham, Burnley, and Lutontown. So that is important. Yeah, as far as Chelsea being volatile, they only have 8 draws on the season, which is not a lot. Boy, there are some others with more. The other team that we're talking about with being volatile, Manchester United, they only have 4 draws on the season. So It speaks to, like, mostly they're just winning or losing, and it's been in odd fits and bursts, and even like alternating week to week, looking through their recent history. So, yeah, it'll depend on who shows up. Are they a coherent young squad, or are they a dissolute young squad? Is kind of what it comes down to. And is Cole Palmer taking too many pot shots? I'm talking about the right guy on the right team, okay?
Hot shots.
He sometimes just launches him from like a little bit outside the 18, and you're like, that's not close. It's not close. All right. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this. That is the week that will be match day 33, a pivotal match week coming up towards the end of the season. All right. Now let's move over to the trivia question, which was, who leads the EPL in most golden boots ever? Some sort of striker from the early noughties.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, that's the noughties. That's what you call them. Not one, not two, noughties. That's what I like to call them anyways. I don't know if everybody else does, but someone does. I'm sure someone calls them the noughties. Anyway, who is this mystery man? Who is this mystery man from the early 2000s?
He is a Frenchman who played on the left for a red team in London. His name is Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry. I would not have guessed. Really?
Harry Kane, I think, was about to tie him had he stayed.
Right.
Because I think Thierry Henry is at 4, and Harry Kane had only hit 3. Because Sergio Aguero took a couple away from him. Holland took one away from him.
Yeah, that is definitely a gettable record there for Erling. He already has one under his belt, and he's 20? Is he 22 now?
Yeah, he's 20. I think he's 22, 23 maybe he turned this year. He's got one. He still leads. I think he hadn't scored in like 10 games, but he still leads the Premier League this year. So he could. Henry won it 4 times. So if he stays a little longer, he could do it.
Season awards. Show me the money. Okay, that's not what I want. Why aren't you showing me what I want? I think it's on the players page, right? Let's see. Who's up top? Nope, I'm not finding this. There, stats. Give me stats. Please help me. Erling Haaland still up top. 19 goals. Only 1 goal on Ollie Watkins at 18. Rodri leads with the most passes during the season. So it's a much more compact Golden Boot race than we have had in previous seasons, because I think Erling Haaland could have won it if he didn't play like the last, 8 matches or something. He could have won it still. It was something crazy like that. But he's still leading with 1 goal up on Ollie Watkins, 2 on Mo Salah, and then 3 on Palmer and Solanke, and then 4 up on Son, Alexander Isak, and Jared Bowen from West Ham. And then you got Phil Foden topping the list there at 14. He could also,
with how he's playing, he could creep up there.
Phil was really good in that Champions League fixture. He's been filling in well with Kevin being out some recently and earlier this season. He's kind of come into his own here this season and is really starting to shine. Very impressive for Phil Foden. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode. Be sure to tune in on Tuesday when we post our recap episode and preview episode for the Champions League. But until then, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer. See you on the other side.